Hey, it's Zane. Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you're having an awesome day. Now, in this video, I want to share with you the sweet spot. What I believe is the sweet spot amount of Bitcoin to own if you have a 12-year time horizon until you'd like to retire. So if you're in your late 40s, early 50s, as an example, and you're saying to yourself, you know what, in 12 years' time, I would love to be in a position to hang up the boots, put the queue in the rack, enjoy life, be debt-free, never have to worry about money again. I don't want to be working into my 70s and my 80s like many people are going to have to do. I don't want to be reliant on the subsistence standard of living that the pension gives me. I don't want to be a party to that system. Pay attention to this video, because I'm not talking about owning multiple Bitcoin, not even one whole Bitcoin. I'm talking about a fraction of a Bitcoin. I'm going to share with you exactly what I believe the sweet spot is. Maybe you're already at this level, and if you are, just keep stacking. But if you're not there yet, really set this as a target for you. And I'm going to be getting into this very shortly for you. I want to unpack this. Before I do that, just a quick reminder, next week I have my Zoom live stream, free webinar on Zoom. It's about a 90-minute presentation, and I'm going to be talking about why Bitcoin is the new path to wealth and self-sovereignty. Really, really important stuff. So the last time I ran this event was around 2 months ago. I had great feedback from it. People have been asking me, when are you going to be doing your Zoom live streams again? So next week I'm doing it. I'd love for you to join if you can make it. Just type Zoom in the comments below, and I'll share the information page with you where you can register for either event. I've actually got two events to choose from. Tuesday night, October 14, 6:30 p.m. This is Brisbane, Queensland, Australia time. Brisbane, Queensland, Australia time. 6:30 p.m. Tuesday the 14th of October. If you can't make that one, Friday morning the 17th of October, 10 a.m. So either Tuesday night, Friday morning, next week. Just type Zoom in the comments and I'll share the link with you. You must register to access the Zoom live stream. And I hope to see you there. I'd love to see you there. So I want to rip through a few points here just to set this up for you. And the first point I want to make is that, you know, most people who are new to Bitcoin think they've missed it. They are constantly playing mind games with themselves, wondering if they're too late. They are very fearful about pushing the buy button because they're afraid that if they do that and the price drops, that they're going to look like an idiot. And I know I felt this in the beginning as well. And it really doesn't matter when you come into Bitcoin. The only difference really is that you're going to pay more or part with more fiat dollars, Aussie dollars or US dollars, in order to stack the same amount of Bitcoin that you could have previously. That's really all that it is. But in terms of the debasement of your currency and your purchasing power, Bitcoin is still, in my view, the best place to park your savings, because regardless of what the historical price has been, when you consider Bitcoin's price trajectory based on its adoption curve, the fact that, you know, all of these massive pools of capital are coming into Bitcoin now. Bitcoin is finite and fixed, absolutely scarce form of money. There's a hard cap of 21 million, virtually unlimited demand globally coming for Bitcoin. Basically anything that you save in dollars or euros or pounds, whatever it might be, into Bitcoin is a claim on the future of Bitcoin, the future of money. Okay, so just keep remembering that. Now, most people, when they think about Bitcoin, they're looking in the rearview mirror. What they're saying to themselves is, I've missed it because I heard about this a number of years ago when I could have bought Bitcoin at X number of dollars. Because they missed it, they're basically, their ego is failing them because they don't want to lean into it now, because they already know they made a mistake by not paying attention to it when they could have. And so it's their ego that prevents them from doing it now. It's far easier for them to say, well, I've missed it, therefore I'm not going to do any work on it. I'm just going to get on with my life. But that is a mistake, because in the year 2030, if you think you've missed it now, what are you going to say to yourself when Bitcoin's sitting at, 1.5 million US dollars, 2.5 million Australian dollars? What are you going to say? If you think you've missed it now, what are you going to say when it's a 10 to 15x from here? Are you still going to say you've missed it and you could have, should have, would have back in 2025? I mean, that's the question you really have to ask yourself here, because Bitcoin has no top, because fiat currency has no bottom. Do you really think that with Bitcoin repricing your house and real estate, do you really think that that's going to stop and reverse? It's only going to accelerate. And so it really doesn't matter when you get into Bitcoin. It just matters from the point of view that for every day and month and year that you wait, yes, it's going to cost you more fiat dollars in order to stake your claim at a meaningful level. And this is why time is of the essence, because Bitcoin is doing everything that it's designed to do, and that is to impose itself on the debt-based failing fiat currency system. And this is what it's doing, okay? And it's only a matter of time before people wake up and they start surveying all the assets that they own, their portfolios and their real estate, and they start saying to themselves, well, hold on, if this is the Melbourne Cup of money, and over here we've got a sure winner, we've got the fastest horse in the race that's proven itself to be that over multiple events over the past 16 years, and here we are with all of these other participants in the cup, in the race, and these are the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth best. How long do you think it's going to be before smart people start to realize, well, they want to actually back the winner? They don't want to be on the second or the third or the fourth or the fifth fastest horse. They want to be on the fastest. And that time isn't here yet, but it's coming, because most people are still very much, tied to everything that they know. And again, this gets back to ego and a lack of education, and the fact that people only have limited bandwidth and ability to think outside of the realm of what they're doing at any given time. And that's all understandable. But the reality is that there will come an inflection point where people will realize, holy hell, this Bitcoin thing is just not going away. I really need to be paying attention to it at a deeper level, not just paying attention to it, but actually rotating capital that is underperforming when it comes to comparative performance. They're going to realize that for every dollar that they've got sitting in anything other than Bitcoin, they are essentially selling out their ability to participate in a meaningful way in this new global decentralized free market, which is what Bitcoin is. So these are all things for you to ponder as we talk about this, because I want you to be thinking not just in terms of number go up. Everybody comes here for number go up, but there is so much more to Bitcoin. Bitcoin stands for so much more than just number go up. Bitcoin is imposing itself on the legacy system that is not a global free market in any way, shape or form, because everything that we've done as a race over the last 100 years in terms of productivity and creating abundance and economies of scale and entrepreneurship and all of these things, our lives should be that abundant and that great, but they're not for most people. Most people are struggling and they cannot figure out why their life is getting harder, not easier. People who are looking at their retirement accounts, they cannot figure out why this promise that was made to them that if they just put their head down for the next 20, 30, 40 years and focus diligently on their work and they save and they put money into superannuation, when they get to retirement age, they're going to have enough to live with dignity and comfort and without stress and with no anxiety. And that is a complete lie. That is completely not the truth. And the reason for that is because superannuation, it's a complete farce. It is not even close to keeping up with real inflation. And so for every year that you leave your money sitting in super, you are basically selling out your financial future, because you are in an asset class that is sinking to the bottom of the ocean. You're allowing your purchasing power, your life savings, your retirement account to be destroyed. And thankfully people are waking up to this now, and they're doing something about it. So I've missed it is a false belief. It's only a matter of time before people who are professionals in the legacy financial system start waking up to themselves and realizing that they can no longer discourage their clients from embracing Bitcoin, because they're going to end up with that much egg on their face. They already have it, that it's just going to become a situation where it's actually embarrassing now, that they're steering their clients away from Bitcoin, when Bitcoin is absolutely pulling the pants down of every other asset that they recommend. So you just have to keep this in mind. Second point I want to make is that as you're thinking about the future, I don't necessarily want you to be thinking about one whole Bitcoin. For most people, that is a mountain to climb. Most people don't have a lazy $180,000 or $120,000 lying around that they can access without it disrupting their current life. And most people already under the pump when it comes to servicing their everyday life, their mortgage or their rent and their food bill and their rates and their electricity and petrol in their car, insurance, the list goes on and on and on. It never stops. And so for most people, unless they're rotating capital out of other assets that are underperforming, it might be real estate rental portfolios, it could be share portfolios, or it could be superannuation, which for most people is a really low-hanging fruit opportunity to tap into, because they can't touch it anyway for the next 10, 15, 20 years. And so for most people, superannuation is a logical pool of capital to access, to rotate into an SMSF so that they can acquire Bitcoin. And they know that there's an opportunity cost of leaving their savings in superannuation at 8% over the next decade or so, and a massive opportunity cost. It's actually in the millions of dollars when you compare it to parking it in Bitcoin. So, these are all the conversations that you need to be having with yourself right now. And the thing is that, I want you to think in terms of Satoshis, not Bitcoin. If you don't have the ability to go and acquire 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 Bitcoin right now, just think in terms of Satoshis. Just think in terms of Satoshis. $1 million sats, 10 million sats. I mean, 1 million sats right now will set you back about 1,800 Australian dollars. 1 million Satoshis will set you back about 1,800 Australian dollars. There is 100 million Satoshis per Bitcoin. $1,800 will buy you 1 million Satoshis. That is an absolute bargain. There is going to come a time where a Satoshi will be equal to 1 cent, right? And at that point, Bitcoin's going to be sitting at $1 million US. And then there's going to come a time where 1 Satoshi is going to be equal to $1, right? And Bitcoin will be worth $100 million at that point. Now, is this going to happen overnight? Of course not. Is it going to happen in our lifetime? Maybe, maybe not. There are people out there who do believe that it is coming a lot faster than we think. But the reality is, who cares? Who cares? It's going to happen at some point. And if you are putting your mind to this and really stacking Satoshis in a really committed way, and you're learning about self-custody, and you're treating each Satoshi as if it was $1, that is the mindset for you to have. You are now going to be taking this a lot more seriously. Get it into self-custody, learn about air-gapped open source, Bitcoin-only wallets, right? Learn about running a node. Once you get to, let's say 20 to 30,000 bucks worth of Bitcoin stashed away, that's the point that I would be suggesting that you start taking seriously your self-custodial setup, thinking about running a node, thinking about running to a desktop-only wallet. And, there are all sorts of redundancies and succession planning and all sorts of things that you can bring into this as the value of your stack grows. But to get started, you just want to keep things as simple as you possibly can. So think in terms of millions of Satoshis. 1 million Satoshis, 5 million Satoshis, 10 million Satoshis, and just build your stack based on that. And then you will eventually get to these fractions of Bitcoin that are really, really meaningful if you have, this decade to 15 years until you'd like to retire. Every Satoshi that you own is going to be a claim on the future circular global free market Bitcoin economy. Okay, it's really important to understand that. I want to just share with you the retirement mathematics here. And if you've got a 12-year time horizon and you want financial freedom, no debt, no stress, and you like the sound of a $5 million Bitcoin nest egg, then the sweet spot target, I believe, is 0.21. 0.21 is going to put you in the top 1.25% of people globally as Bitcoin transitions into the new global settlement layer of value. The new global decentralized reserve monetary system where people are going to be clamoring to park and store their economic energy, their savings, and their value. 8 billion people globally. If you own 0.21, there's only 21 million Bitcoin. You are going to be a shareholder, if you like, right? There'll only be 100 million of these people who can own 0.21. You're going to be in that club, which is the top 1.25% club globally. Okay? That is going to be a very, very elite group. Remember what you're owning. You're owning a claim, the base layer, protocol, the new settlement layer of global value. Okay, is this a stock? Is this a share? Is this a piece of real estate that all you have is a title deed on or a paper claim on? Absolutely not. This is absolute ownership of the new monetary revolution, global monetary revolution. 0.21 is going to set you back about 38,000 Australian dollars today, okay, which is about 25,000 USD, something like that. And at 50% CAGR, compound annual growth rate, for the next 12 years, okay, which I believe is more than reasonable. I actually think that it's on the low side. We know over the last 10 years it's done about 80%. Over the last 5 to 7 years it's done around 59%. I think that 50% CAGR for the next 12 years is more than reasonable. And if you get to 0.21, like I said, that's a $38,000 Australian dollar investment. In 12 years, that's going to be worth just under $5 million because of the compound annual growth rate, the mass adoption of Bitcoin, the fact that it is a fixed finite asset that has unlimited global capital coming for it. It's going to drive the value of your savings to just under $5 million in 12 years. Now, if you've only got 8 to 10 years until retirement, yep, maybe you're going to need 0.5 or closer to 1 Bitcoin to get to that, $5 million target. But, most people, they can hold out for 12 years. They've got lives to live. They're still perhaps raising their kids, or they're still involved in their career or their business. 12 years is not that long. If you can keep your head down and you can get yourself to this 0.21 and get it locked down in self-custody in the most robust way you possibly can. I cannot tell you how many people I meet who have bought Bitcoin in a really significant way and they still have their Bitcoin in a really, really, really poor setup. Okay, and they thankfully are realizing that now after I have a conversation with them, and once I guide them and tell them what I'm doing and what they should be doing, then they understand. But, self-custody is the revolution here, guys. This is the thing you need to be focused on, okay? Every Satoshi is going to be worth something significant into the future, so please value it as such. Please Keep your eye on the prize. You haven't missed it. We're still very early. Please stop looking in the rearview mirror and start looking forward, staking your claim in the new financial system, the new settlement layer of value. You're going to have global permissionless money that is incorruptible, uncensorable, no permission required, no counterparty to your wealth. And that is going to be a very, very powerful thing. So I'm going to leave it there today. Once again, my Zoom session is next week. I'd love for you to join me. If you'd like to be there, just type Zoom in the comments and I'll post the link to you so that you can register for either Tuesday night or Friday morning. Other than that, I want to thank you for being here. You may want to book a one-on-one call with me so we can go through this at a deeper level. I do my calls on Zoom, share some resources with you on my screen so that you know exactly what to do based on where you're at and the simple next best steps. So if you're ready to just book a call with me, you can do that as well. You'll see a link in the show notes. But other than that, thanks for tuning in. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. This is Zane signing out. Have an awesome day.